All right, so you're thinking about becoming a special educational needs assistant. That's awesome, making a real difference, you know. But first things first, that interview. But hey, no worries, that's why we're here. We're going to dive deep into some real interview questions.
Straight from RoleCatcher, that platform that helps you navigate your whole career thing.
Exactly. We're talking actual questions, the stuff they really ask. And even better, we're going to help you totally rock those answers. Consider this your interview boot camp.
Minus the push-ups, hopefully.
Definitely minus the push-ups. And speaking of prepping, have you checked out RoleCatcher's career guide for CNAs? It's packed with good stuff.
Oh yeah, it's super helpful. Did you know the need for CNAs is way up there?
Seriously.
Yeah, more and more schools are realizing hey, these CNAs, they're crucial. Which is awesome for anyone thinking about this career, right?
Absolutely. Job security for the win. But it's obviously way more than just a job, right?
Right. It's about passion. It's about making a difference.
Empowering those students who need that extra bit of support. Okay, let's jump right in. Imagine you're sitting there, interview panel staring you down, and they hit you with this. Tell us about your experience working with children with special educational needs. Classic, right?
Whoa, it's a classic for sure. I've seen that one everywhere. RoleCatcher's career guide, interview guides, you name it.
So if you've got that direct experience, amazing. Dive right in, talk specifics, challenges, strategies, those little wins that make it worthwhile, right?
Right, exactly. But hold on, what if you're totally new to this, fresh out of college, or maybe you're switching careers?
Well, yeah.
That's where those, what do you call them, transferable skills come in?
I see where you're going with this.
Exactly. So think back. Any experience where you needed patience, empathy, creativity. That summer, you were a camp counselor. Pure gold. Organize that neighborhood fundraiser. Tell them about it.
And you know what's cool? RoleCatcher's career guide actually has this whole section on showcasing those kinds of skills. Even suggests using their AI to, analyze your resume, see how your experience lines up with what CNAs need. Pretty cool, huh?
Super cool. It's like having a secret weapon,
Yeah.
Okay, ready for another question they love to ask?
Hit me.
How would you handle a situation where a child with special needs, becomes upset or agitated? Another one that pops up everywhere in those RoleCatcher resources.
It's like they know their stuff over at RoleCatcher.
Right. Like they've cracked the interview code or something.
Yeah.
But really, this question, it's all about staying calm, cool, and collected when things get a bit, let's just say, lively.
Because let's be real, working with kids, there are always surprises.
Oh, absolutely. That's where being prepared makes all the difference. Brush up on those de-escalation techniques. But remember, every child is different, so something that works for one might not work for another.
Flexibility is key.
100%. You got to be adaptable, willing to adjust your approach.
Which brings us to another question they love to throw at you. Can you tell us about a time you had to adapt your teaching to support a child with special educational needs? I've seen that in the interview guide and the interview questions repository on RoleCatcher. They love that one. Adaptability. Yeah, it's like they say, the spice of life. And definitely key to being a great CNA. So what kind of examples should our listeners have ready to go for this kind of question?
Okay, so let's say you're working with a student who's really struggling with reading, right? Instead of just sticking with the regular textbooks, you might try visual aids, maybe graphic novels, even educational apps.
Yeah.
Make it more engaging for them.
Right, make it fun.
Exactly. Or let's say you have a child who just can't sit still for very long. You could try incorporating movement breaks, hands-on activities, even take the learning outside sometimes.
I love that. Thinking outside the box. And you know what's been a game changer in special education? Technology. I mean, RoleCatcher's career guide even has a whole section on it. Talks about how assistive tech is transforming the field.
It's amazing, right? All the cool stuff out there, text-to-speech software, interactive whiteboards, they can really make a difference. And interviewers are definitely going to want to know that you're comfortable with all that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And speaking of the technology, have you checked out RoleCatcher's AI for interview prep?
It's amazing.
It's like having a personal coach, but without the whistle and the stopwatch.
Right. You can actually practice answering interview questions and get feedback from the AI. It analyzes your pace and your tone, even your word choice. It's super helpful.
So cool. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk teamwork. Because being a CNA, it's not really a solo mission, right?
Totally. You're part of a team, and interviewers know that. That's why they'll often ask something like, how would you work with teachers to make sure kids with special needs are getting the support they need in the classroom? It's all about showing them you can collaborate.
So how do you show them you're a team player? What do you say?
Well, communication is key. Imagine you're working with a student who's having a tough time with a certain concept. Instead of just, struggling alone, you'd go to the teacher, share what you're seeing, brainstorm some strategies
Be
together.
proactive.
Exactly. Maybe suggest a different teaching method or a visual aid, even just some extra one-on-one time with the student.
Right. And being organized. Teachers are busy, so anything you can do to help, like keeping track of schedules, prepping materials, even just tidying up,
Yeah.
it all makes a difference.
Oh, absolutely. And don't forget about flexibility. Things change quickly in a classroom, so being able to roll with it is super important.
Totally. So important. Okay, let's dive into another question that can sometimes trip people up. How do you build positive relationships with children with special educational needs?
Ah, yes. That one's all about the heart. It's about connecting with those kids on a human level, going beyond just the lesson plan.
It's about really seeing them, right?
Yeah. Exactly. And it all starts with empathy, really listening to them, understanding their needs, their strengths, their challenges. Every child is unique.
So it's about creating that space, that safe space where they feel comfortable, accepted for who they are. How can our listeners get that across in an interview?
It's really the little things that make a difference, like getting down on their level physically, speaking clearly, simply, being patient when they're trying to communicate, celebrating those victories, even the small ones, making learning fun.
Yes, those little moments, they make all the difference. Okay, ready for another question that might pop up?
Hit me.
Tell us about a time when you had to advocate for a child with special educational needs.
Ah, that's a good one. It's about being their champion, standing up for them, making sure their needs are met.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be this big dramatic thing.
Right. Sometimes it's just speaking up to the teacher if you feel like something's not quite right. Or, I don't know, maybe suggesting a change to an activity if it seems too difficult for a child.
Or advocating for them to have access to a specific learning tool. Maybe requesting a sensory break if they're feeling overwhelmed. Even just making sure they're included in everything, like field trips, assemblies, all of it.
All of it. You're spot on. And speaking of inclusion, that actually leads us to another big question. How do you ensure that children with special needs are included in all aspects of school life?
Such a crucial question. We're talking about real inclusion, where every single child feels like they belong.
Exactly. And it's important to remember, inclusion is not just about being physically present. They have to be able to participate, engage, feel like they're truly a part of things.
So how do we make that happen? What does that look like in practice?
It goes back to those individualized approaches we were talking about earlier. Some kids might need some adjustments made to activities, some might benefit from visual aids or those social stories, and sometimes a child might just need a little nudge to interact with their classmates. It's about paying attention, noticing when a child might be feeling left out, and then finding ways to support them, but in a way that's respectful, respecting their independence.
Absolutely. And creating that culture of kindness and empathy in the classroom and beyond. Okay, are you ready for one final question? This one goes right to the heart of being a SENA.
Bring it on.
How do you ensure that children with special needs are able to access the curriculum and, make progress?
Ah, yes. The million-dollar question. Because ultimately, it's about these amazing kids learning, growing, achieving their goals.
Exactly. And you have to remember that progress looks different for every single child.
Yeah.
It's not about comparing them to others. It's about celebrating their individual achievements, no matter how big or small.
That's where those individualized learning plans are so important, right?
100%. Taking the time to really get to know each child, their learning style, their strengths, their challenges, what they want to achieve. Then you work with the teacher, adjust materials, modify activities, provide the support they need. It's all connected. And we can't forget about the power of assistive technology. I mean, something as simple as a text-to-speech app or a visual timer can make learning so much more accessible and engaging.
Totally. Like having a personalized learning toolkit right at your fingertips. And speaking of tools, don't forget about RoleCatcher. Their career guide, the AI interview practice, it's all amazing.
It's true. It's like having a whole support system in your pocket.
Yep.
So, to wrap things up, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember as they head into that SENA interview?
Go in there confident, be yourself, and let your passion shine through. Because at the end of the day, being a SENA is about making a real difference in the lives of these amazing kids.
Beautifully said. And to all our listeners out there, good luck with your interviews. You've got this.